Islam Sheikh Bey. Islam. It is August the 4th, 2025, and it is approximately 5 minutes to 11 a.m. Islam. I'm on Arrington-Bey. I'm at Crosswinds Apartments. Uh, so Islam. Um, I'm trying to see how I'm going to talk to you with the camera today. Um, I experienced a dream, forced manipulated dream. First, let me say this. I'm going to talk to you about my experience in my journey of cleansing the karma energy through of of my line from my line and from myself. And the steps I'm taking and the experiences, the testimonies I'm giving while doing so. Unclean karma energy, curses from my mother's and father's line and from myself, which I agree with you that I'm going to try not to keep looking that way. But usually, what I'm trying to do when I do that way, look that way, is I'm trying to articulate my thoughts and verbalize them. So, and I know I'm among spirits, laboratory experiments. These are not just lab experiments or spirits that are unclean. These are laboratory experiments that a unnaturalized United States government use because they have specialized in force engaging different departments of the mind and the body sheath. And and by doing these things, they are able to control those who don't know. And then those who do know but feel helpless in their situation of the forced engagement, which is a act of war. It is a deliberate act of war because if they're unnaturalized and it's a government of the United States, unnaturalized United States Navy and Army, how are they operating on naturalized ground where many have bled, the blood of many ancestors are in this ground for freedom to walk and demonstrate themselves as free beings. So these are acts of war. So I'm going to demonstrate when I say acts of war. So a lot of times when I be and hold on, let me slow down. A lot of times through my years of growing, before my consciousness changed, when I would hear war, I thought physical plane because I wasn't knowledgeable of the spiritual and mental planes that exist. So um, when um, war was debated on TV on the physical plane, and whether it's war with Iraq, the Vietnam War, they demonstrating what happened with the Vietnam War, um, the war, the Civil War here on this landmass, war, um, um, World War I, World War II, when the United States chose to use the atomic bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So all these forms of war was demonstrated on the physical plane, but I did not have, I wasn't recalling the knowledge of spiritual warfare, mental warfare, which is connected to spiritual warfare. So what we are among this day and time, more so in the spirits of truth, because even before war took a form on the physical plane, it had to exist so in the spiritual plane or mental plane of thought. first. So before the United States, a government of the United States, which was, I'm going to say, I'm 95% sure unnaturalized, decided to send the atomic bomb to Nagasaki and Hiroshima. They had to experience thoughts mentally and spiritually to do so. And then later, they experienced thoughts to pay the descendants of Nagasaki and Hiroshima money for what they did. And then, so they experienced the thought to kill and murder, they say millions of Nagasaki and Hiroshima. And then a government that's unnaturalized, the United States, experienced a thought. And so they implemented it on the physical plane. They sent the atomic bomb. And what I remember hearing, that the United States was the only one that took it to that level, a government of the United States, of killing so many with atomic bomb. Other countries have the atomic bomb, but they never they never chose to kill and murder so many. I don't know how true that is, but that's what I remember reading, or I should say, reading or in hearing reports. Um, so then, after having the thought, they implemented the thought on a physical plane. Then, a United States government experienced a thought to um, pay the descendants of those of Nagasaki and Hiroshima for the killing and murderous act um, of um, of the atomic bomb of Nagasaki and Hiroshima. And so they experienced the thought, and then they implemented it on the physical plane. It's the same when a United States government unnaturalized. These are my thoughts and learning, and of course, let me finish the thought. But Sheet Dwayne Baffle Bay, I know you can correct me, and I can listen. I definitely will listen. Um, Experience. It's the same when a United States government that's unnaturalized, the Navy, Army, that's included, unnaturalized, Marines, whatever other branch, police, that's a government that's in that jurisdiction, have the ability to control unclean spirits, demonic spirits. Now, in the mental plane, they experience it's a thought. So if you have different planes of your mind that exist, and the government is able to invade and infiltrate different departments of a human, or a human, HU-MAN, mind, then, and with that, use demonic unclean spirits. And unclean demonic spirits have been reported for ages, okay, to control thoughts, to control behavior, to so this is in the I'll off a bit, but this is in the department of a mind. Control, so thoughts, behavior, and subjugate, even invade the body sheath to cause physical illness. Physical illness, and then take it to the next level of demonology of sex. When you have a dream, or a dream from the higher above realms, it's not well, I know I have had them, it's not dealing with sex. But what a United States government and that which is connected to it have done with the telepathic code, those that have it, which the code telepathy is thoughts, our thoughts, dealing with departments of the mind. So if um so to take it to the next level of demonology, of filth, in reference to unclean behavior, which is connected to murder, connected like the bombing of Nagasaki and Hiroshima, okay? Excuse me, connected to rape, like the bombing of Nagasaki and Hiroshima, connected to um, theft, because they are actually infiltrating and stealing something that's not theirs, like the bombing of Nagasaki and Hiroshima. And then, but with the bombing of Nagasaki and Hiroshima, a United States government that's unnaturalized, I'm pretty sure, not, I'm going to say 95% sure, unnaturalized under the true laws of freedom, decided to pay them years later. And so this is where I think compensation of Abraham Lincoln, um, when he wrote Emancipation, Compensation, Emancipation proclamations, he or the Emancipation, I want to say Compensation, Emancipation Proclamation. See, that shows how I need to read, because I used to read it so much, but then I started to allow my journey to take another form, and then my reading of the proclamations sort of fell on I sort of fell in the back, and I started to be in the journey of experiencing spirituality. Now I'm connecting spirituality with law, and and what Abraham Lincoln and other lawful documents were trying, like the Constitution, the true Constitution, with spirituality, and and how it connects um, with us individually as humans. HU-MAN, man, as a being, human as a being, and I am. Time never was when man was not. According to the Holy Crown Circle 7, this is definitely a spiritual text that I definitely connect with. So, um, so compensation is what they did for Nagasaki and Hiroshima. Compensation is what will be done, I think, spiritually with individuals here in many forms, but we have to implement it in a manner that is not of a physical thought of what compensation is. So these are my thoughts, okay? And I'm going to say this again with humility, and excuse my I never did my hair. I just washed it, and now I have to wash my hair. And then when I wash my hair, she doing Bey. I said I was gonna try to twist it, but I just I'm gonna, it's growing really 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 fast, and I just got to keep up with it. That's all. Anyway, um, and I don't know why I just brushed my teeth, and my teeth are really really white, but it's like they. Oh, there's a pause. Okay, I'll probably force thought. So let me take a few moments, okay? It's probably a forced engagement. Let me take a few moments to continue this thought, okay? Because I'm hearing a frequency. Compensation. So compensation, Dwayne, I have come to accept that it is spiritual and not just on a physical plane. When I first read the compensation emancipation, or part of the compensation proclamation um, of Abraham, I was already on the level of spirituality, especially when he started to speak about crossing lines um, and the Egypt to the west. I was already thinking spiritual and mental, but I think I needed some time to experience what I'm experiencing to really connect spiritually what these texts are saying, what these books are speaking about on a higher thought. So what's interesting is being among lab freaks that speak Spanish, okay, unclean spirits. What they do is latch on. A United States government that's unnaturalized, and that's African American, Black, Negro. These are demonic, filthy spirits that force engage the different departments of the mind. The pale skin, and they like to call themselves Freemasons. They like to um, use the words 333 Freemason. Um, and their implementation in some in witches with whatever werewolf, wolf, vampire, birdman, viper, snakes. So these are all low frequency elements. And then so what the filth does is usually see the a United States government use them to stalk the minds of an individual by force engaging, and how they do it is always being in their domicile area, whether it's an apartment or a house, and and they study the intellect and the behavior of that individual. And then, especially if it's a high thought individual where they don't have the thoughts. So this is so if they are trying to take, like many conscious African Americans that were out of their status of who they were as Moors on this landmass, they stayed in the status of African American, Black, Negro, according to constitutional law until they transitioned. But before they transitioned, they had higher thoughts of consciousness, and they were saying how um, um, unclean spirits from China, Japan, um, that look human. Pretty much, that's what they were saying. The government from China, Japan, a United States government, and other India, other places would go to different places of the continent of Africa as they encourage war in different forms and manner, breaking down the people um, with their technology of that exists, and then coming back to see the implement themselves as saviors. But they would take different parts of the humans over there and were able to use the consciousness of them. They said the pineal gland, because they kept saying that they were stealing pineal glands over there. They were they were creating wars, and the bodies of the people in different places, they were using the melon, the pineal glands. But it seemed like the consumption of melon, deep, dark black melon and consciousness seemed to just keep falling over here. And people kept speaking about the physical plane or the program of racism. The program is a program of racism, because when you say racism, and not speak about um, the truth about the connection to the racism in reference to spirituality and mentalism, then you know it's a program. So it was beyond. So when they went over to different places of the continent of Africa, and even here on this landmass, remembering all the innocents that were in prison on this landmass that were in the status of African American, Black, Negro, and others that might not be Moors, but was definitely preyed upon, because there's definitely pale skins that are not the same species of the abomination filth that like to say white, but they are definitely some type of unclean, filthy spirit. There are definitely pale skins that are have claimed reclaim a nationality, and have a higher thought process with melon, okay, that exists. So not just in the continent of Africa, not just in the country of India, not just in the continent of Australia, or the originals that existed in Japan and China before they started to kill and destroy them and breed a new form of them, of Japanese and Chinese. Not just so all over the globe, it seemed like the theft of consciousness has been removed, and the procedure, the science that a government have learned to do to take has not been talked about enough to really connect what is going on. So what they're doing here in Annapolis, with me hearing these frequencies and Imani being around Imani, is they trying to take consciousness and the deep black melon, the black Negro unclean abomination spirit that exists here, that is connected to the unnaturalized Army, Navy, male and females, and some and other that are connected to the unnaturalized a government of the United States, along with those that speak Spanish and others, pale skin, Spanish from Mexico, El Salvador, South Central America. A lot of them are here from that area, and they invade the body sheath and the mind, the departments of mind, to study the intellect and take and plot thoughts eventually, because they're stealing. This is theft. So this is the connection to the word theft and stealing that I keep saying over and over again through my and I brought forth the truth on a physical plane. Before, it was more on the physical plane with cryptocurrency because of what I experienced. Sheet Dwayne Bethel Bay. A few years back, when coronavirus happened, I was documenting hearing the frequencies at the hotel. At the time, it was Extended Stay America, about hearing Spanish speaking accents, male and female. Excuse me, Allah. And um, and other forms of and black Negroes saying brother paid, male and female, Spanish speaking accents, Birdman. That more has a lot of magic in her, saying things like that. We paid, pale skin saying 33, or implying 33, and so forth. But I was thinking about, and then I realized that we're among humanoid AI that has the ability to control technology. So what happened with me with cryptocurrency is I was studying and learning how to. I was trying to double my money because coronavirus. I didn't have many hours like many. If you remember, people were really suffering. Businesses shut down, and the government gave a stimulus check out to people to help them as much as possible. So I was just trying to double my money and so forth. And then like I was documenting, frequency was like, let us help you. And I was watching Dogecoin go up and down. It just paused, and the thought was to put the money in. And I documented it because I knew that was a form to engage and to slowly bring in. So if they do that, then the next step is mental invasion with dreams and sex. Because they say, well, we helped you, and now we want, and now we're gonna continue to molest and um possess the being through sex. So I kept having to wake up quickly, because the filth that's from South Central America, Mexico, some type of lab experiment that the government of the United States have allowed purposely to come here and to purposely connect and steal and invade and infiltrate different beings, along with the black Negro and so forth, pale skin, um, was always trying to invade my dreams, to have sex, or and then definitely plot thoughts, or just invade my body sheath, where my body, I could tell, like, because they are able to invade the body sheath and cause your arm to move, your leg to move, definitely send forth sharp pains. Not just them, but average citizens that have the telepathic code. Not all citizens have them. And I'm not saying everyone from South Central America and the black, Negro, African American, pale skin, so forth, are unclean, abomination, and spirits. But we definitely know that they are connected with AI, that's humanoid AI, and through that connection with the telepathic code, and they are doing many acts of terrorism. So getting back to the theft, so I was speaking of them stealing here in Annapolis. I was like, if they will try to coerce someone who's not from Annapolis to steal, well, they've been stealing all this time. But that was on the physical plane, because it's not, if you're gonna rape someone who, and you are using technology that should be used to help uplift humanity, HUMANITY, to help lift and implement laws of freedom, but instead you are using technology and science like the telepathic code to rape and normalize murderous behaviors. Theft is all included, and it's not a big deal to lie, and or cause someone to, while they're trying to live a lifestyle that correlates to the Constitution of 1787, the true Constitution, to cause them to not be able to, by causing issues with their employers, by either through the forced engagement of the body, the forced engagement of different departments of the mind that cause a person to not be able to recall memory thoughts, speak the words that they need to speak, or whatever other war tactic, because these are war tactics that an unnaturalized United States government and the unnaturalized military that should not be able to operate on this landmass is doing, or are doing. So, thief. So when you are sitting back and you are studying to the intellect, and you are trying to study and plot thoughts and see how a higher thought being that's more than you, and you know it. So you from Mexico, or you came here from Mexico, the country that they call Mexico. You came here from South Central America, and you are a United States government that's unnaturalized weapon, and you know we are at war, and it starts spiritually and mentally. And you know this has been a warfare for a long time, but you know that those that are here don't know. So, like what has happened in many parts globally, whether it's in the country of India, the dark, extremely dark melanated originals in India, different countries in Africa, Australia, Japan, China, Russia, whatever. The first thing you're trying to do is take the consciousness and thoughts of that individual so you can make it your own. So you can claim the thoughts and consciousness of being your own. Just like they do to this day of different artifacts that they have found, including the pyramids, where it was such a big deal to say that the pyramids were created, the pyramids in Egypt, that's to the east, in the place they call Egypt now, were created by deep dark melanated, almost the color of midnight or color of midnight beings. And then and just say that they were that they were of African. They like to say the word African. Now they talk about it more because I guess they call themselves compensating, but they're not compensating something that has already been true. The truth is there. So it's the same in South Central America and Mexico. You have pale skins that speak Spanish over there that are not of the original. And so instead of, because before they used to claim that because getting back to Egypt of the East, they had documents of those that were there scratching off the hieroglyphs because they didn't want people to see the information that the deep melanated midnight color or pigmentation beings, that how high in thought and intelligence they were compared to that which inhabit that area now, and how low in thought they are. And they are of Arab and other descents over there now. So they were trying to erase truth and then claim it to be theirs. It's the same thing that's going on, that has gone on in South Central America and Mexico. They don't have the intelligence and consciousness to create something so intelligent that they have found over there in reference to pyramids, the Olmec and other beings. But what they have done through the years is they started to hide, burn, and remove truth about who and what intelligence created these things, and because they knew they didn't have the intelligence to do such things. So that is theft. And then they start saying it's theirs. That's my land. That's our artifacts. It's theft. So they're doing the same thing with individuals that have the capability to raise their consciousness, where the filth cannot raise their frequency or consciousness. The filth, the birdman that look to be from Mexico, whatever, South Central America, the others from El Salvador, these are unclean spirits I'm talking about. El Salvador, saying werewolf, wolf, the vipers, whatever else lab freak that they have created, they cannot create and have a higher thought consciousness spiritually. Or pale skin, that's a species of beast, or the black Negro African. But they can invade and infiltrate the different parts and consciousness of the mind and then take thoughts or piggyback from the thought because they studied, and then later claim after they get through it's theirs, which is theft. Not take, they steal. It's the same operation done over and over again. So then you have someone who doesn't know who she is, her or his consciousness on this landmass, a higher thought being, has raised their consciousness, and they are able to think beyond thoughts. They are able to communicate with the elements. They have celestial beings communicating with them. The filth, the lab freak demon abominations from South Central America and Mexico, and that which is a beast, pale skin, and black, Negro, African American, cannot and do not have that same connection. Okay? They are on a low frequency, and they are trapped in that low frequency. So they would try, they see something and they want it. They see it, so they can then eventually somehow change and say it's theirs. I can't tell you how many times I've heard them say from South Central America and Mexico through the years that Moor has a lot of magic in her. Or the black Negro African American keeps saying brother paid. Now, if you have your own magic, if you have your own thoughts and higher thoughts, why would you need to pay for, or say you need to pay for anything? They don't have it. These are lab experiments that have been created and have existed for a while, for a very, very long time, amalgamating and being used to infiltrate so that the frequency of Earth, because it's all connected to the cosmos and the frequency of Earth, can stay low. Because it is a deliberate war tactic. Now, when you have immigrants that should not be able to operate on this landmass come to a landmass that they have not been native to ever, and they feel comfortable to say move, y'all need to move, and then they start sending 4 sharp pains. That is an unnaturalized United States government and military hand behind them doing it. And or immigrants stalking an apartment or house committing heinous crimes. That is an unnaturalized United States government military behind them doing it. And so there's a lot of noise that just start happening. So let me call, because I don't want my thoughts to be blocked or not be able to articulate. So what I was thinking about in reference to witchcraft. So when you have that which is trying to invade thoughts, and so they can make the thoughts theirs. There's different tactics of war they will use. In the witchcraft and trying to when you're trying to, what's the word, initiate someone, and as though they want to be initiated, okay, because it is a false reality of what is really going on. The last thing they want is you to think that you are being war upon. They don't want you to think that you are actually at war. Because it's just like many people used to say, the last thing the devil wants you to do is know that the devil exists. So in that, I think what they are truly trying to say is that which is unclean, demonic, and filthy, the last thing they want us to do is know what truth is. What is the true reality of what we are among, and what in the energy fields and the dimension we are in. So what they have done to trap many is use a form of covens or sects to initiate people. So you have immigrants coming from Africa. Okay, hold on. I'm going to stop there. Yeah, I apologize. I had to use the restroom. Okay, I'm back. So you have immigrants coming from Africa, and I'm not saying every immigrant from Africa is good, no, because there are different tribes in Africa, and I'm pretty sure there's a in that see in Africa, the continent of Africa, they already knew the knowledge of just because you look like me doesn't mean you like me. That's why they had different cultures. I can see this. This is the connection to different cultural dress, jewelry, to identify themselves of which tribe they were connected to or in. Where over here, there was a program, and I should say that was the program there. Over here, there was a program that you look black, you're African American, you're from here. Well, we are the same people, and to assume that nonetheless that we because of that there is an underlying nature of goodness or some things that we just don't do. So what I'm saying is that is not the truth. And what the truth is dealing with spirits and unclean demonic spirits that have manifested on the physical plane in different bodies, and possibly in the continent of Africa, or in the countries of Africa, where you have one country having hundreds of different 100 different tribes, or over 100 different tribes. Possibly they knew that different tribes had different spirits, and definitely and different spirits in that tribe that separated them, and different customs, because everything is spiritual first. But there was possibly for them to coexist where there's no war, they had to have some type of connection to coexist. So here, when you have being among Africans that have come from the continent of Africa, that are from Senegal, Gambia, um, other places. They could be from Kenya or Cameroon or um, South Africa, Nigeria, and many places. When to assume that because they are immigrants from Africa trying to make it, and because of the program here, especially with blacks, um, for a long time just wanting to return to Africa, so they just saying that, or African Americans saying that they're from Africa, not knowing that and that could be the program for them, that are lab experiments, because is maybe they did take some energy from Africa, or maybe there was some that came over here from Africa, and definitely that is true. That I mean, it's not all everybody's from here and have been here for a long time and on this landmass. But what I'm trying to say is, to get my point across, is that immigrants, when they come over here, um, and they need, and I'm just going to use an example. I'm not saying this is